Welcome back. As of yesterday, the South Dakota women's basketball team is one of 36 Division I women's programs in the nation still continuing their 2017-18 season. It's pretty cool considering there are 349 D1 programs total. The Coyotes picked up a win over Colorado State on Sunday to advance to the Sweet 16 of the WNIT, where they'll take on the Big Ten's Michigan State. So for more on that, here's Jay Elsen with head coach Dawn Plitzuweit.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Well, the Coyotes, as you said, off and running in the WNIT. In fact, getting prepared already for the third round of this tournament. But, Dawn, before we get into too much of that, let's take a look back at how we got to this point. And it started off very tough matchup right out of the gate against Houston. Were the Cougars everything you thought they were going to be?
They were as athletic as we thought they were on film, and then some. They really got after it. They try to press the tempo and speed you up in all kinds of different presses. And I thought our young ladies did a really nice job handling all that speed and athleticism with a lot of composure. Big
first quarter for your team, though, and ended up leading by as many as 15 in the first half. Cougars, though, cut it all the way down in that third quarter, got within 4 at one point. But as you said, your ladies weathered the storm. I'm sure you were proud of that part of it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the advantage to playing some great competition in your non-conference and certainly within your conference season, that you've been in those situations before. We've seen this over and over again. And basketball is a game of momentum. It's a game of runs, and certainly we've seen that. And so for us, it was a matter of, okay, now we need to put on our defensive stopper mode, and we need to make sure that we get on a run ourselves, and we were able to do that in that game.
All right, went on, got the win there. Set up a date with Colorado State. Obviously, a lot of Kyle connections within that program. Certainly made the game a little bit more unique in that way. Did you feel that extra buzz coming in?
Well, it certainly didn't change anything with how we prepared for the game, but when the starting lineups were announced and our fans really cheered as loud for their coaches and certainly for Amber Hagee as they did for anyone from our starting lineup, it was kind of an interesting scenario. It was kind of fun to be a part of it.
Another great start to this game, built a big halftime lead, but again, kind of the same scenario played out as it did in that Houston game. A little bit of trouble at the start of the third quarter. They made a good run at you, got within 5, but again, same story, figured it out, got through it.
Well, I thought what Colorado State did in that third quarter is they changed some of their looks offensively. So what we saw in the first half is that they kind of went away from how they defend normally, and they started to switch a lot more screens. Then they went into a zone, which they've only played maybe 15 to 20% of the time. They played that for a great deal of the time. In the third quarter, they changed their offense, and they gave us some different looks that way. And then it took us a little bit of time to figure out what that looked like and how to defend that. And I thought our young ladies did a really nice job of making those adjustments in the third quarter, and then had a run on our own. I think we went on an 18-0 run after it got cut to 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, open it up and went on to win pretty comfortably. Found out immediately after the game that you were going to get the opportunity to host the third-round game. Had to wait a little longer on the opponent. Of course, we all now know that it's going to be Michigan State coming in here Thursday night to the SCSC. What's it mean for your team to get the chance to host that team in this game?
Well, it's pretty interesting. So when you look right now at the WNIT bid, you see teams that are hosting and schools that are hosting, and it's West Virginia, and it's Virginia Tech, and it's Alabama, and it's Kansas State. Oh, and it's the University of South Dakota. So it's pretty neat to be mentioned with that elite company. Now you're playing against a team that has great size. They start 2 6'4" kids that come off the bench with 2 or 3 more 6'4" kids. Their perimeter kids have good length as well and try to really post you up and really get around the rim. They're a great rebounding team. But what's really interesting about them is how well they share the ball and pass the ball. They're one of the top, I think they're 12th in the country in assists per game. They really move the ball and share the ball and attack you inside.
Obviously, it's a big team, and they're coming off a win over Toledo on Monday night at their place. You talked about the size that they – other than that, though, what do you think about the actual matchup between your squad and theirs?
Well, it's interesting because, again, we've seen teams play very differently against us. So the first 2 games in the WNIT, we've seen Michigan State play a man that doesn't switch, but then we go back and watch them in some other games, and we see that they have the ability to switch every screen, and they do it in some baseline out-of-bounds scenarios. So they're a team that can give you a lot of different looks. Well, we just saw that in Houston. Houston gave us 4 looks defensively. Colorado State gave us 3 different looks. So that part of it, we've seen it before, but we haven't necessarily seen that size, except for when we played against Tennessee and we played against Oklahoma State earlier in the year. So we go back and we watch some of that film and put our kids in positions to be prepared for that. At the same time, offensively, what's really going to be offensively for them, what's going to be really important for us is that we're able to get them outside of their rhythm a little bit, and we're still figuring out what that means and what that looks like.
All right, Dawn. Well, it's going to be a fun night Thursday night. I don't think anybody doubts that. Good luck to you, and we'll catch up again next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jay. Let's hope we pack this place. That would be
awesome,
great atmosphere.
All right. Thanks, Dawn. And Kelly, we'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Coming up after the break, some exciting news out of Grand Forks for one UND hockey player and an update from NDSU football's first day of spring practice. Stay tuned.